To competitive Overwatch today's Rhino Showdown. Today I'm Babs and I'm joined by Dreamer and we have a banger of a game today, don't we, Dreamer?
I am super excited. Good evening, everybody. Super chilly, a little chilly time in Cape Town here, but we are definitely going to be heating up in Overwatch today. Two cool teams, exciting players on each side. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how this turns out in the playoff series.
Yeah, this game. So both of these teams have already been pushed towards the first division. Right now they are playing for the highest seed. And oh wow, two teams do we have today, right? EEA Pangolins and Salamanders. Let's talk about Pangolins first, right? We saw them just last week. I mean, in their game against Valkyrie, boy, did they look powerful, playing around them. Their tank player, Poached Egg, and their star DPS player, Solaris and Rafiki. Of course, their backline held together, Tito's Yuli. Wow, this team looked so good on stream yesterday. I can't wait to see what.
No, look, listen. I mean, I think the talent in the ZA scene is really great. There's been some absolutely banging games that I've also been able to cast previously as well. So really excited about this one. And on the other side, we've got Pink Salamanders, which have some exciting names in there. Unfortunately, there was going to be their tank player Blur coming into play, but unfortunately, he is dealing with load shedding issues, as are all of us. And so in his place, they have is it Zlade that's coming in to fill in for the tank role.
Zlade is filling in for support. I believe Tox is moving into DPS, and then Big Tuna has moved on to tank. So
okay. So as you can tell, it is a lot of there's a mix of the player roles. But having said it, they've got Cheetah Boy on DPS, and for those of you, I mean, Cheetah Boy I know well from the Apex scene, an absolutely scary DPS player, which I think will do really well in this team. I think also one of the cool things around sort of Pink Salamanders as well is these teams have faced off before, and in the previous matchup, Salamanders did walk away 3-0, but having said that, there's been a lot of matches previously where those 3-0s aren't an accurate reflection of, the closeness of those games. So, I think we are expecting two really competitive teams. If we had to talk about the predictions and, who we favor, I would have to say Pink Salamanders may look like the stronger team, but absolutely everything to play for.
yeah, I mean, look, right now there's no falling, right? You're both already in the first division. Are you playing purely for seeding? And I think both teams are going to come out swinging. Pangolins owe a massive win on.
I mean, it makes a huge difference, in the battle, the landscape of the game and the flow. And of course, if you're not going to have sort of your primary IGL, that could be a concern. But I think what's been so cool when you've watched all these teams play previously, and from my experience as well watching these teams, that the support role is actually really underrated in a lot of ways. I think when you have two really strong supports that know each other well, very familiar with the team, it gives you a really strong foundation for the rest of the players to kind of pop off and play off them. So with the role switches and things happening, I think when you've got a strong backline or a strong backline in form of your supports, that can definitely give you the edge. And so I think on the side of Pink Salamanders, you don't have your primary tank, but I think with the rest of the team, they've got the firepower and the talent and the experience to make sure we can have a really competitive series.
I mean, yeah, when you say solid backline, who else do you think of besides Zlade and Vertigo? I mean, Zlade, probably one of the most notorious and best Lucio players in all of ZA Overwatch. Vertigo, previously tank player that has popped off on the support role recently. I mean, played so far above their level. I mean, yeah, you're right. Strong support line, strong backline. It's gonna be hard for Pangolins, but I'm excited, dude.
Yeah, no, look, I'm excited. I mean, I know, looking at sort of, obviously we've got the stats and, well, I say stats, just, key info on some of these players. For me as well, I think what's been exciting for me, just watching a lot of new players that I haven't seen play before, and seeing sort of what they bring to the table. Vertigo, saying a very strong Ana player, really, one of her favorite heroes to play. So, I think Ana's been doing really well in the meta. I don't know if we're going to see Weaver yet. yet. If I don't know if anybody's willing to throw him out yet, I know he's not, but not considered the strongest pick at the moment, especially obviously still being new. Who knows? A team might throw out some cheese, try to throw everybody off, and get everybody excited. What I am excited for, and I am going to be that person, I'm going to go against the community and say Battle Moria. That is something I am absolutely looking forward to because I want to see the world burn.
I mean, like, if there's anyone that's gonna be Balmora, I believe it'll be Vertigo. She's just that powerful. But like, I am going to pray to the Overwatch god any of that because I do not want to cast that. I will simply close my eyes. Speaking about battles, I think we should get right back in. And I think we're ready to start the game, right? Both seem to be ready, and I'm excited for us to get started.
I'm very, very, very excited. If I'm not mistaken, we are starting off on Lijiang Tower, correct?
Yeah, Lijiang.
So, what are your thoughts on Lijiang Tower? I mean, what do you think the teams will be looking to do to capitalize on in the landscape?
I mean, Lijiang Tower is such a good map, I think, to start on because it shows us so many different comps. And particularly in Night Market, I think we're going to see a Rhino Symmetra battle. And seeing that Tox is on DPS, I'm like 99% sure Pink Salamanders are coming out on Symmetra. I mean, I'm 100% sure they're coming out Symmetra. So we're going to be seeing a Rhino Sim TP. From Pangolins, I know they do prefer their ball, and Poach isn't a very comfortable Rhino player, so I think we might be seeing them switch to that well.
Well, look, I'm really, really excited. I know Lijiang Tower. I mean, Farah's been doing really, really well. Always creates a lot of consistent pressure, and it can be really difficult to play against. It's something we've also mentioned. Being in South Africa, there's obviously going to be a bit of that input lag, which makes it a lot harder to be able to deal with the Farah. But here we go. The teams are about to head off. I'm looking to see these teams coming strong, really quickly. I know some teams like to give up control of the point at the beginning and allow to do the retake and they can control it. But teams have come in, they've gone in right from the go. We've got a Reinhardt actually already kind of trying to create that space on the side of Pink Salamanders, if I'm not mistaken, that is sitting on the red side. I lied to you. They're actually sitting on the blue side, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, that's the blue side. So we actually have Pangolins actually sitting there controlling the point. As I said, some teams like to kind of give up that space, let those teams settle in, get those early control points, and come in for the late retake. But so far, Pangolins looking really good.
Yeah, I mean, there's a really explosive start. We saw like 2 insta-picks from the side of Pangolins. And when you lose 2, it's very hard to become Salamanders.
100%. But as we see, the teams are getting in. We're still trying to kind of create space. Pink Salamanders are struggling to kind of break through the front line so far, sitting on the side of Pangolins. They're sitting on 20% points, kind of really getting their points there. They've got the full team kind of there, being pushed out to the back, but keeping sure they're contesting the point to make sure that Salamanders can't take it over. But slowly and surely, you'd expect to see the Lucius looking for some environmental kills, trying to make a difference, but it's still looking really, really comfortable. Oh, and there we go. We've just actually got in the switch now. And Pink Salamanders getting into control.
Yeah, first people of the day for this late. I'm excited to see a lot more of those. But yeah, we see there that like the Ramata on the side of Poached Egg on the side of Falcon just takes so much damage, and they're not able to heal that up enough. So that way, when they do have to are forced to engage to get the point back, they end up losing their tank really early, and then Salamander just capitalizing on that. Well played on the slow tempo play for Pink Salamanders.
Exactly, and it's always scary trying to go into when there's a symmetry on the other side. I mean, with all those turrets, it's such a pain to go in, and you can see that Pangolins are literally kind of sitting in the back, trying to cause some damage, but also giving a chance for the side on Pink Salamanders to actually get their ultimate. And here we go, so on the side of Big Tuna, trying to get some damage with the 5-play kill streak, manages to get rid of the tank, gets rid of the Lucio as well. And once again, Pink Salamanders looking really, really comfortable. We've got Cheat Boy on Cassidy as well, trying to keep that damage. I think seeing Symmetry is the first time I've actually seen 2 teams in the same game going, but obviously so far it's looking really, really good on the side of Pink Salamanders. It's sitting now just about to hit the 60% point.
That was a little bit creative from Pangolins. I mean, with the stun TP and then a Martha in the backline. It didn't really work out since they got isolated so fast, and it was like great target. We're seeing it again.
And the fact that there we go with the Lucia ultimate coming through. We do have, oh goodness, no, just too much chaos happening all at once. So we still have Pink Salamanders with one person on the point trying to keep it together. But it looks like Pangolins is about to overpower them. They have 3 people on the side, managed to push everyone back. Got rid of the split reporter as well, just in time though, for the contention to happen. So they still haven't managed to cap over the point, but surely now they'll be able to keep Pink Salamanders off the point. No, they're not. I always love watching Alicia riding around the world, trying to keep the point going, being so frustrating, carrying on healing, boosting through, squeezes through the window. Unfortunately, his lane does not make it out. Rafiki managed to get them down, and we now have a chance for Pangolins to try to claim their point. Pink Salamander is sitting on 99% though, so they're really going to have to work hard. This is do or die for Pangolins to keep the point.
Yeah, I mean, both teams committing so many ults now. I mean, we saw like 10 ults, if I'm not mistaken. So, an expensive win for Pangolins, and they have a long while though. One flip from Salamanders and it's game for them, and they seem to be coming up, and that's the mental wall. The only ultimate we'll see in the game for now.
And so far, we do have Pink Salamanders coming and taking point. I mean, and they took it so quickly, so fast. And this is exactly what we were talking about. Some teams really love to just let teams take control. And there we go. The first blood is going to the side of Pink Salamanders. I mean, that was a pretty, I suppose, kind of a weird ebb and flow. I think Pink Salamanders felt very comfortable sort of coming in, taking their points. When they didn't want to take the fight, they just sat back, waited, regrouped, looked at their ults, and came back. You know, if you're looking on the side of Pangolins, what would you want to be doing differently going into round 2?
I definitely want to see more cohesive play between the tank and the DPS players. I mean, it felt like Poached Egg got isolated really fast on the side of Pangolins, and Salamanders well done and executing that and taking advantage of that. I mean, their target focus has been immaculate, man. I want to see Pangolins playing more of the cohesive plays we expect from them. I mean, they're a team that's been together for so long, and we expect them to be able to play well together.
Absolutely. I mean, and look, I think the change in characters is definitely going to be a nice help here. I always like the Wrecking Ball coming in to kind of create a bit of damage or a bit of sort of distraction and difficulty. But of course, Big June on the side of Pink Salamanders opting for the Winston. So we're going to see how we're going to play it off in round 2. So far, we do have Pink Salamanders on site. There's a Pharah on the side of Pangolins as well. I'm interested to see how that goes. Always allows for some great environmental skills near the bridge. But we have the Wrecking Ball going in. Points about to be unlocked in a couple of seconds. And Pink Salamander have chosen to hold fast on the point.
I mean, Pangolins come once go to focus on fire, you know, the ball will really disrupt the space in the background, but their main target for the is to get their fire to do damage, and the fire wants to stay sharp in the fight, want to poke in damage from bow. But it looks like Salamander is doing really well using the cover of the point there to capture point and, you know, just basically make the fire on the side of Salamanders obsolete.
And that's exactly the thing. I think it was a really smart play for them to be sitting inside the base capturing points, because the pharmacy is great when you want to do damage from afar, but when it comes down to capturing a point and holding it down, it's difficult. And you already see Big Salamander keeping them on the bridge, pushing them all the way back there, and the team's trying to come in, Pangolins trying to come in, make the difference. They have shifted Diva. I think that's a good play as well, to try and soak up some of the damage and trying to allow the team to get on the point, and that's what's happening right now. We do have Winston jumping in the background, trying to keep the point sitting on the side of Pink Salamander. We have the Tracer ult that just went through. Rafiki managed to get a kill over there onto Cheetah Boy and to Toxing. And so far it looks like Pangolin might be able to actually claim back the point. They've got 4 people to 1. And yes, they do. They managed to get the point. I did not expect them to be able to capture it so fast. I mean, there's two people outside of Pink Salamander trying to keep it going, but what a strong retake.
I mean, they lost their Reaper player really early, and I mean, when you lose someone who does so much damage in this comp relies on the Reaper for damage. It's really hard for you to hold, but Salamander is doing really well to slow it out. I mean, they committed the primal raid, and they're just committing bodies. I mean, they went from 40% to 65%. So really well played from Salamanders. Even though they lost that, they made sure to hold on as long as they could.
Exactly. I mean, and this is where we start to see the pharmacy, dynamics slowly start to, make some damage on the side of Pangolins. Now they get to shoot them from afar, give that pressure, make it really difficult for them to get their way back towards the base. On the side of Pink Salamanders, they're still keeping in with the Winston, wanting to jump in, and they've got their Reaper as well, trying to go in and boost with the Q code. But let's see if they can actually make some difference. We do have Winston that goes in, jumps in from the back. Lucio follows him through. Vertigo, unfortunately, does get knocked off. That's unfortunate there. We've got the Diva ult, only manages to catch Reaper. They get the Reaper pick again. And they've got this lane, they've got Lucio down, and they have Winston also taken down now as well. So So again, Pangolins managed to hold on and making it look really easy. I'm wondering if Pink Salamanders might need to switch up their comp.
Yeah, that was really unlucky. I mean, Vertigo dying early to the environmental, I want to say, and then just one single ult inside of Pangolins. They're playing really well. So Salamanders are coming up on 4 ults. I want to see them win this with the ult. If not, I'd like to see situated campaign.
I mean, look, I do think with the way that the comps are going, I mean, it's sitting around, you know, they're just about to hit they've just hit the mark, 65%, tying it up with the Pink Salamanders. And Pink Salamanders, though, managing to push off, getting a team wipe, actually, essentially there, and managed to get the point back really quickly. I think what's so fascinating is seeing how quickly these teams are just retaking. It seems to just, you know, kind of be chilled, and then next thing you know, the teams are in, wiping everybody out, and now we're back to the original setup. But unfortunately, on the side of Pangolins, they don't have a lot of time. 80% already sitting on the side of
and they invested their fire barrage there, so...
And yeah, they've got 2 ults on there. Like, yeah, they've only got the Tracer ult and they've got the Fuchsia ult. And on the side of Pink Salamanders, they've still got the Lucio ult that they can use to hold on as they're sitting on the 92%. But we do have Pangolins making another push, trying to make their way into space. Lucio ult just got hit, but Pangolins are coming up from behind, and now it's a fight on the zone. We've got Mercy trying to keep Farah alive. Reapers is there trying to get the damage. We've got the ult possibility from Winston, and
oh my god,
holding on to it. What an ult from Diva there.
A Poach Egg getting 2 with the squish? That is not something we see, especially in a losing fight. I mean, that fight was basically lost for the side of Pangolins, and the tank player just coming through with that squish.
And you were talking about having this team. You wanted to see Pangolins start to play more cohesively, play more together, and you've absolutely seen that in these team fights. They're absolutely coming in together. They're playing as a team, making the most of their abilities. Excuse me, they're making the most of their abilities, and here they are sitting on the point with only 13% left to go. But we do have Pink Salamanders trying to come up from the behind, trying to make one last push, and trying to make a clutch play.
I did not like the scrum switch to the side of Salamanders. I think I really prefer the Winston. Even though they do have the capacity right now, it's just, I feel like you can isolate them really fast.
Look, I mean, this is a great way to answer losing the first round. It's coming with a strong game. We've got a far roll sitting there too. Oh my goodness, Rafiki finishing off, getting Kuriko down and Vertigo's out. And we are seeing, I have not seen the Winston ult yet. I think they've just muted on the side of King Salamander, but they're trying to hold on. Pangolins still there with 3 characters on the 3 heroes on the side of the point. But Pink Salamanders is looking really, really strong. We've got taken Miracy, he's been taking down. We've got Rafiki that takes down Winston. Lucio is taking down Farah. It's an absolute bloodbath, but it's looking on the side of Pink Salamanders. They've got 3 heroes on point versus the one on the side of Pangolin.
I mean, that was just a really messy fight, and it looked like Salamanders came out on top there, even though they looked like they were on the weaker end. I mean, they lost their gas really early. They were getting overwhelmed, but the cohesion and commitment of the players on the side of Salamanders, they take the first map.
What I feel like that was almost completely different to what we've just seen on the first round. I mean, Pink Salamanders were looking so in control and really looking pretty together. And we see Poach GG coming through with the diva play of the game.
Oh, this is gonna be so sick.
Oh my goodness, that is, I don't think I've ever seen that before after the game Overwatch. Do you know what I love about Zeta Overwatch? It's the most interesting and fascinating kills that come through. But that was absolutely one of the most pivotal moments in the game there. I mean, if it weren't for well, one of the most pivotal moments, it really gave them an opportunity to claim the point and to convert it into a win.
I mean, like, that was probably, yeah, you're right, the most important moment of the Pangolins play in that map. I mean, they were losing that fight. They were like, I think it was 2-4, and then Poached Egg with the fat squish. I mean, wow. I mean, Poached Egg, we know, always comes up with the huge diva plays, and I guess we're seeing it there. Even though they're playing a team of higher caliber, we cannot count out Pangolins. And I mean, that second map showed us, like, just how good they were.
Yep. Having said that, though, it does seem as if Blur is going to be coming in. And for those of you that might be just tuning into now, Blur is the main tank and the IGL for Pink Salamanders. And that's something we were talking about again now, having these teams kind of playing together, making sure they play a bit more cohesively. And I think, you know, as you mentioned, the comp on Pink Salamanders maybe didn't get executed quite, you know, in the most effective way. And I mean, of course, that game was close, but I think Blur coming back in, their main IGL being able to give them a chance, I think we should see a very different team that's going to kind of hit back and really want to make their mark against Pangolins. But what a great game so far. That's been great to just see these teams just going back and forth. Just wild fights all around.
Yeah, I mean, that second point map on Lijiang. It's really chaotic. I did not expect it from two teams that are built around cohesion. A lot of the Salamanders players have played together for so long, and Pangolins has been together as a team for almost 2-3 years. But
Yeah.
even so, it was such a chaotic game where we saw a lot of alt fights, a lot of alts just getting thrown out, a lot of weird fight wins that they shouldn't have been fight wins. I feel like both teams are lacking a little bit of focus right now, and I want to see them pick that up. And I mean, with Blur coming in, that means the off-rolling is over. I mean, Tox is no longer on DPS, and we know they're only confident on the Mei, Sombra, and Symmetra. So with Blur coming in, that just opens up how many comps they can play. I mean, now with the actual DPS players on DPS and their main tank IGL back, I feel like Pangolins are going to get a huge boost.
Oh, yeah, on the side. Well, look, we'll see how this plays out. I've also realized I really was given one of the most chaotic games to decide to be coming into as a play-by-play caster, because really 4 to 5 ults blown all at once in any given moment, this has been an absolute slugfest. And you know what I really love about watching these series as well is it really gives teams a chance to adapt, to switch out players as well, come with some new strategies, and really kind of, bring something new to the table. Try to see, so, there's been some interesting hero picks. Sombra I haven't seen too much of. Was Sombra as effective as you would have wanted? We'll have to see how it plays out for the rest of the series. But some really, really interesting picks. I definitely want to see a Reinhardt. I would definitely love to see a Ryan come in to kind of bring a bit of stability. I think these teams are, play really fast and really aggressively, and then it works really well when it works, but sometimes not. So maybe a team coming in with a bit of a slower approach, a bit more team-centric, play style could be the difference.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we've seen Pangolins play the Sigma comp, which is a really slow comp. You want to just allow your DPS to pop off, and they played it really well with that. So I want to see them slow it down, like you said, like they were in a rush. They were a little nervous there. So I want to see Coach shake up her team and get them to going, get them slowing down the game a little. We know like the Hanzo player on the side of Pangolins is absolutely crazy, and they also have a sick Cassidy player. So maybe you're right, slow down the game a little and play your playstyle instead of trying to match the Salamanders playstyle.
Exactly. And so we are about to kick it off and get it underway. We do have pink Salamanders on the red side, and we have Pangolins on blue, so a little switch of colors there. We got Blur coming in, trying to show off, and let's see how things kick off. I always like to see a Winston. We've got Cheetah Boy and Widowmaker as well there on the side of pink Salamander. Widowmaker obviously really great with a lot of line of sight, some really cool angles to take advantage of. On the side of Pangolins, we've got a Zenyatta, which I have not seen in a while, so really interesting to see how the Zenyatta sort of plays off a lot of damage. That output that comes from Zenyatta. Those balls and that kick, very underrated.
Yeah, I mean, I really like Pangolins comp. I like the Sigma, although I would have preferred the Baptiste over the Ana, just for that immortality field. But I guess they're trying to lean into that nano visor comp, the Ana soldier.
Trace, I mean, how have you seen the Trace sort of operate? I don't know if it's been as effective. I haven't seen any sort of round winning ults just yet. Do you think it's a good pick worth continuing?
I mean, Tracer is normally a really good pick in this comp, but if your player isn't comfortable on Tracer, I really want to see them, maybe play the Hanzo or something like that. Oof.
Oh my goodness, so we actually have Blur taken out right at the beginning. Cheetah Boy gets punched to death by the Trace on the side of Pangolins, and they seem to be doing really calm, very, very comfortable. Of course, they are on the side of the defense, and we'll be hoping to keep Pink Salamander off the zone as much as possible. Blur's warming up, and I think that is something to be said. We've got teams that have just had these kind of like ridiculous rounds and going back and forth. You're coming into two teams that are warmed up, so Blur's gonna need a chance to get started, get into the game zone, and really get his head in the game. I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes. But so far, it seems to be going surprisingly slow on the side of Pink Salamander. They're not really looking to push too quickly, but they have the Sombra in the back, being a little sneaky coming in, and there we go. Now we have Blur trying to come in, trying to make a difference. But so far, Pangolins are holding strong. Blur is going all the way in. Sombra trying to also make some damage from the back. We still have Cheetah Boy Cheetah Boy is actually the one running in. I want to see sort of Trace trying to do a bit of flanking, but nothing so far. It seems surprisingly slow on the side of Pink Salamanders.
Yeah, I mean, Pangolins playing this comp really well. I mean, just keeping that discount on the bunker there, making sure that they aren't able to execute dives. I mean, we have Discord, you dive so fast. But
Oh my goodness, what an absolute slaughter. And I mean, that's exactly how you want to use your tank there. Really blur, really showcasing, disrupting the team, not allowing Pangolins to play their style. And there you go. They get the team wipe and already starting to get some points on the board as they get ready to about to unlock it all in one go. What a great example. And you've already mentioned this about Blur. He is the IGL. He is the one trying to make sure that the team is going to, play the way they need to. And they executed that perfectly. He managed to get his ult off there as well, cause a massive disruption and really push back the back line on the side of the Pangolins. And there they go with the point taken, and they start to push the payload.
I mean, yeah, with Blur isolating the backline like that, it takes away the entire score.
Oh, and the Sigma ult is just going in there, and you mentioned manages to catch 3 of the players over there, but so far, Brigitte actually also coming on the side of Pink Salamander, also really interesting hit there, and it gets taken down by Pink Salamander, and in return they get Cheetah Boy down, who's playing on Sombra, obviously Sombra wanting to be as annoying as possible. The payload is moving, and this is something you notice as these teams are battling it out and throwing rocks and getting their points in and trying to keep people back. The payload continues to move, and you've got to make sure you're going to stop that from happening. But Winston sitting in the background, Blur, trying to make things difficult. I do see Pangolins now starting to contest on the payload. Sigma trying to keep the teams back, keep them busy, as well as their Tracer. But Blur is an absolute monster at the moment, just not allowing Pangolins the chance to play their game.
Yeah, I mean, just never allowing Pangolins to group up and, find their feet. Really well played on Salamanders, constantly disrupting the comp. Pangolins comp wants to take control of high ground and just control that high ground and try and take as much space as possible. But Salamander just making sure that's not possible. I think Pangolins committing some ults there, it's good for them. It helps them control the point and just take away some of that momentum on the side of.
And the point you were making there as well around the high ground, I definitely do see that Pangolins are taking more advantage of that. I think that's allowing them to actually win this fight. But they so far take down Brigitte as well already. And looking comfortable. Winston back in the back line, trying to just be disruptive as much as possible. Sombra Tracer also running in, just making it as difficult as possible. But and there they go. They actually get 3 kills taken off there already on the side of Salamander, bringing down Pangolins down to 2. And it's difficult. Stevie gets taken off the robot, and it's probably going to die. Yes, he does. And there they go. Still contesting the points, though, doing it really, really well to keep the payload back. But in the end, Pink Salamander definitely playing more as a team. I think the high ground's been utilized really well on the side of Pangolins, but unfortunately, the payload's at the bottom, and you've got to stop that from moving.
I mean, that was a fat EMP from Cheetah Boy. We all know how strong EMP is as an ult. Probably the strongest single ult in the game. And I mean, Cheetah Boy making great use of it, getting like the entire background side of the villain, and it's just helping them control that fight.
And I think if you look inside of Winston, I mean, Blur is making it so difficult for the back for Pangolins, the DPS players, even be applying consistent damage, consistent pressure. The teams are fighting all over the place, and now it's starting to be a bit of a scattered fight all over the map. As these teams are just trying to block off their tanks, make sure that they're not going to be stuck up from behind. But here we go, the payload finally is being contested. We've got a devolve that just came through, unable to catch anybody, unfortunately, but it creates that space and stops the payload from moving. Winston, Blur still sitting on the payload, trying to get it moving, trying to keep it going, and they just slug in and out. Even sitting at the top, trying to break it down. The payload still not moving as these teams are just fighting it off. Unfortunately, Cassie is not able to catch anybody outside of the Tracer, and that is all they needed to do. The team managed to clean up on the side of King Salamander and move the payload with just a little bit, even though they have a Tracer, being as annoying as ever.
Oh no, oh my god, they just stunned out the EMP. Wow, what a big stun from the Brick player on the side of, I mean, they committed the rally, and boy, now the fact that they stunned out the EMP, I mean, Pangolins has a big chance to push through and also.
And if you're looking at the way, I mean, we've seen how there's actually been a streaky that's switched up to Bjorn and to Torben, and I think that's actually a great pick. These fights are being so scattered, they're going on for as long as possible. You want to make sure you're actually creating a lot of damage there.
And I mean, Pangolins could have won that. I don't think it's necessarily a C9, but I think they would have liked to contest that point a little longer. Well played from the Brick player on the side of Pangolins. I mean, stunning out that EMP, gave them a shot at just like holding onto that point a little longer. A little unfortunate, they've point is the name of the game, but even in this chaos, it seems like Pangolins still playing really well. How strong the opponent is.
Right, absolutely. I mean, yeah, the payload is moving. Brigitte, was buffed. So, I don't think it's surprising to see how strong Greedy can be played when played really well. And funnily enough, actually, on the side of Pangolins, they've also decided to answer it back with the Brigitte. And so they've got a Diva, Torben, trying to make slow. Now we're getting into the point of the map where it is going to be really close up. There's going to be a bit of a choke point happening over here. And they're doing the battle. We've got a Diva ult that's just been thrown out, unable to catch anybody. And the payload continues to move.
Yeah, I mean, Pangolins playing really far back, and their comp feels a little disconnected. I mean, I'm not really sure I understand the Scorpion pick. I mean, sure, against a Tracer, maybe you can argue it's the counter, but the pick feels very disconnected from the rest of their comp.
And showing in the team fight as well. I mean, they've just taken it down one by one, and the payload continues to move. And I think, again, to your point, it is being very disjointed. The players are trying to go down on the Pangolin side one by one. You kind of want the team to sort of regroup and go, hey, we need to fight as a team. Reaper sitting at the base, trying to stop the payload from getting to the final point. We've got the Reaper ult that just got thrown off, managed to take down 2 on the side of Pangolins. Blur gets taken down at the end, but then we have Reaper managed to take out Torben, and they take down one of the final players inside of Chaser. And there goes Diva, unfortunately, and that closes out what was an absolutely chaotic but so much fun round with Pink Salamander managed to push the point all the way to the end with 25 seconds remaining. And now we switch sides. What are you expecting to see these teams do differently as they go and switch sides?
I mean, I'm not sure. It felt like it was the entire map was just one really long drawn fight. Even on third point, it felt like Pangolins stand their ground together, a fight that they put together. It just feels like maybe the chaos with the Winston comp from the side of Salamanders is too much for Protect and Pangolins to handle. I'd like to see maybe I don't know. I feel like maybe they should embrace the chaos a little. Maybe we know they like to play the ball, so maybe put out a ball comp. I mean, their Tracer player really popped off in that match. Solaris making big picks in the backline. I know they landed some fat ball spams. So maybe play the Tracer, the ball Genji. And we know Rafiki likes to play that Genji. So maybe play into that chaos that Salamanders are trying to manufacture.
And actually, I was going to add as well, I think because these fights have been so extended and so long and going on for so far, a pick like Lucio would be great. And on the side of Pangolin, they've done exactly that, opting to go with the Lucio backline on top of the Ana. I think Lucio with the constant sort of sustain hopefully will allow these teams to last a bit longer. And you've called it. There's a Genji pick happening on Rafiki on the side of Pangolins. Meanwhile, on the side of Pink Salamander, we have Blur sticking to the Winston. Obviously been doing incredibly well on that. Cheetah Boy going with Ash. I mean, how do we feel about that? I mean, is that a character you think you can, exploit a lot of the differences? Obviously with the ult, Bob can come in and again add a little extra firepower to what has been some really long fights.
I mean, we know Cheetah Boy is that good, and seeing them pick up the Ash, I do not think it's weird at all. I mean, they're a well-known hit scan player, and I don't hate it. I mean, with the Z Discords, it could be like a headshot one tap.
And I would like to thank the team for the pause that allowed me to catch my breath, because we are going to be losing our points as you're already going underway, and then getting a pick on Jewel, and that's already a player down on the side of Pangolins as they begin their assault of the point. Again, sitting kind of back as they're slowly trying to make their way. We saw how Pink Salamander managed to kind of just sit back and then eventually one big push, get a great bunch of ults, and really fly through to the point. Let's see how Pangolins started to get themselves as well. Still sitting back, teams are kind of just testing each other, just kind of, just saying, I see you, we've got the high ground, starting to get utilized. Now Winston decides to go all the way in, make it difficult, but he gets pushed off the roof, goes right back, pushes him all the way off, and the chaos has begun. The ults are busy being generated. Winston Blur's going in and out, but unfortunately does fall to the Hanzo, which they've opted to go for. Lucio and the team, Pangolin pushing in, getting to the point, and wow, that feels like they did not have to contest too difficult to start making ground.
Yeah, I mean, the Hanzo just does so much damage, and I think a little mistake from Blur's side, staying in a little too deep there, not really in the line of sight on his support, so that Hanzo just pumping into the damage of the Winston just made it really easy to isolate the tank. And I mean, that also came a part of Solaris winning the Tracer 1v1 against Big Team. Solaris Tracer doing really well in this map.
That was an absolutely masterclass performance down the side of Pangolins to take the point so quickly. Blur even opting to go into the Wrecking Ball just to try to, stall them out and contest the point and not allow them to move so fast. That's what they have. And so the first part of their mission is done. They now need to start pushing the payload. And you have Tracer taking down Zenyatta in the back. A little bit of a revenge kill on the side there. And things are looking really good on the side of Pangolins. Cheetah Boy, though, switched the Echo, managed to take down Hanzo, which has been such a pressure point. Blur is back on the Winston, trying to go into the backline, make things difficult for that. The payload continues to be pushed.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the Echo pick here. Such a good player, and there's no hit scan on the side of Pangolins to compete with the Echo. They played that really well. I mean, isolating the tank on the side of Poach Leg, and making sure to engage with Echo.
Absolutely, you're seeing it starting to be really effective. Shinobu gets another kill in Lucio. Blur takes down Rafiki, lands on the side of Pangolins, and he also manages to take down Kiriko with the help of Lucio. And as I said, I think the Lucio pick has been really, really good. You've seen Talking Socks actually switch off Zenyatta to the Lucio because these two teams continue to fight for such long periods of time. You want to make sure you have your constant meaning. But so far, despite taking points really quickly, Pangolins are looking to have to fight really hard to get the point across.
Yeah, I mean, the Echo kind of forces Rafiki to play the Cassidy, and that forces him to get the Hanzo, which takes off a lot of pressure from Blur. I mean, sure, it adds the pressure onto the Echo player, but when your Monkey has so much less damage being pumped into them, your comp gets so much more freedom.
And exactly what's happening there as well, you just saw Blur going in and they just split the team in half and managed to kill them on the other side of the world. I mean, Crazy was killed all alone, looking at the ocean, watching a beautiful shark on the side there, hanging dead, much like Chaser. And here they go, trying to make a push, trying to actually get the payload moving in the circle. All that's allowed them to get ahead, move faster. Blur still trying to keep the point, the payload from moving, doing as much destruction as possible, and this does manage to fall down. Kiriko actually takes them down, but Reaper comes back to answer with an ult, only managed to pick off one Kiriko, but that's backline gone to Pangolin. They answer back to get down the backline of Tux and Socks gets taken down, followed by Reaper. And Pangolin, once again, moving the payload. And I'm really interested to see how the timing is going to go because it feels like these moves are far more staggered than the way that the fights were breaking out on the side of Pink Salamander pushing the payload.
Yeah, I mean, that was a really expensive fight to Pangolins, and all that did was get them out of spawn. They're just getting to the bridge right now, and that's the perfect spot for the versus top play. And we see that coming to play back. What a wonderful dive from the side of Salamander.
And absolutely, Blur is fearless in going through to the backline and once again jumps into the middle, splits up the team, and they manage to pick them off. I'm really starting to feel that, on the side of Pangolins, they really need to look at their comp and realize they get broken down and split off so quickly and then just taken off one by one, which makes it really difficult for them to obviously keep fighting as a team. Do they look at a switch in some of their team comps to allow them to just fight a little bit better? Rafiki now obviously sitting on the Cassidy, hoping to make a difference there. Diva is now the tank of choice as they're trying to make some headway.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the Diva switch, but it might be a little late. I mean, one more fight with this and there's no ult built up on the side of Pangolin. Sure, maybe they're coming up on the Deadeye, and maybe if you're pushing it, they can get a loose your feet off, but I mean, it's just not enough. Salamander's coming up on the Dupe and the Reaper ult. It's going to do so much damage to the backline of
And the way that Blur's been playing, I mean, he's generating his ults so quickly as well. I mean, he just used it up and he's already sitting about to hit the 10% mark there. As you said, Shinobu's sitting there on Echo with the ult ready to go. We've got the Reaper ult also kind of ready to go there. I mean, it's going to be a really, really, really tough ask to get Pangolins to actually come through and make a difference. And I've decided it's really fast start. Looking good.
Yeah, it looks like Salamanders want to take the early fight. They want to pick forward, they want to get advantage, and that's they comp to be the initial. The comp wants to be in uncomfortable positions, and that's what's happening to Pangolins. Their base of play is forced to punch up the car, and that just means that their comp is lacking.
Yeah, it has been an absolute chaos this year, but they've managed to take down Echo, they've taken down Kiriko as well. They're trying everything they can to keep the payload pushing and keep moving and get it to the halfway mark, which they have not crossed yet. That, as I say that, there they go trying. Blur's coming back in, trying to make a difference, trying to stop them from moving as fast as they can. The ult of Diva is just thrown up in the air, and it manages to catch them too, giving them the breathing room they need to hopefully get the payload to the final point. They managed to take down Kiriko, the last standing member on the side of Pink Salamanders, and there they go, finally able to get the second point. But this is when things start to get really difficult as we start to get into tighter and tighter spaces.
Yeah, I mean, if there's anything that you will always see in a ZA game, it's pauses, disconnects, and a poached egg fat Diva bomb. She's just so good at creating that space and getting that big to Diva bomb, and that opened up the fight for the rest of the team.
No, it absolutely did, and again, they created enough space for themselves to go. Blur unfortunately gets taken down very, very quickly. Very good. Lucio almost down and is finally taken down. Shinobu gets taken down after that as well. And wow, Kiriko and Reaper followed through. That's a team wipe. Before Blur was even able to respawn. I'm looking really, really good on the side of Pangolins there, and looking like smooth sailing as they head into the final stretch.
Really well played from Pangolins. I mean, isolating Blur so fast and just getting their card to get moving. But this is where we see a little bit of an issue. Sombra is close to a EMP. We see the Reaper, we see the Keeper. It's gonna be, oh my god.
And there we go, Cheetah Boy goes through. Well, actually, Cheetah Boy trying to get the ult there, but did not manage to get that ult time. Oh, sorry, not Cheetah Boy, Reaper, unfortunately. And actually gets killed in the middle of the ult.
Yeah, I mean, really well played from Rafiki. All they get from a Reaper ult is one pick, and the card is still moving forward. It's not over, Pangolins. Pangolins is still a little bit, maybe get the Diva match back. This is really winnable for the side.
It is, and Blur obviously with his ult though, and you know how strong of a Winston is, especially in small space. The Chico goes off, there goes Blur, trying to cause disruption, trying to make it difficult, hitting them all the way back, and manages to take down the back line, and continuing to do damage, but the payload's still pushing, still being contested. Blur comes back to the point to take the team and save them and keep them going, and what a great play. That was just really, really well done. Very commanding performance there. Great use of ult at the final dying moment as they try to keep off Pangolins from touching the pwn. And they managed to pull it off in the dying meters of the game.
Yeah, that was, I hate to say it, but that was really well played from Blur, isolating the Cassidy and the Ana in the back, and getting both of the backliners on the side of Pangolins. I mean, getting that Cassidy right after their Deadeye, and then getting the Ana right after. Blur's playing that Winston so well, and a hero we know he's really good. And a hero his name Amena. Yeah, so really well played from Blur and the main tank.
And I think he's played incredibly in this match. I mean, we saw it constantly. He was doing it over and over again, managing to dive into the backline, split up the team of Pangolins in half, and then they just got picked off one by one. And having said that, though, again, we've said Pink Salamanders are a really strong team. This is always going to be, almost an uphill battle for Pangolins. But I have to say, they've genuinely done some really great plays. They've been smart about the way they've utilized their comp. They've given Pink Salamanders, a run for their money, and done some really great kills, some really great controls, and really been able to push a point, but unfortunately weren't able to get it there across the line. But that was very, very close.
Yeah, I mean, really well played from Pangolins there. I mean, right, like you said, there is an uphill battle. They're punching above their weight class, but they're playing so well. I mean, we have to see hero plays from the side of Salamanders just for them to actually, hold back the opponents. I mean, Pangolins really looking up like they deserve their spot in Premier Division. They're up here, they can play with the big shots, and it's so nice to see that they're able to do this, because a lot of people, they're not the most flashy team, they're not the most show-up team in the Kalsa chat, but they're really good, and they're really good at playing their game, and we're seeing that in this game.
No, listen, I mean, absolutely. It's been an incredibly close series throughout. I think, there's been magic moments, but, to your point, I think Pink Salamander has been quite consistent in terms of how they're playing and doing the right things all the time. Whereas, as you said, Pangolins have had to have quite a few hero moments. And of course, it's incredible seeing these players pull those off, but you want to make sure you can consistently keep doing getting the right kills, getting the right picks, moving the payload consistently forward. And unfortunately, they weren't quite able to do it off. But now we are heading to Dorado. What are your thoughts? What are you hoping to see from these teams as we go into this next match?
I really like Dorado, and I think seeing Cheetah Boy from Pink Salamanders, I hope to see a Widowmaker. It's very hard to play around a Widowmaker. Centers around, Monkey, Tracer, Sombra. But I think if there's any team that can make it work, it's Pink Salamanders. So I'd like to see maybe a Widowmaker from Cheetah Boy, play a Sigma comp from the side of Pink Salamanders. And for Pangolins, I want to see them play that Ball comp. I mean, Ball are really strong on Dorado, and we know they like to play the Tracer Genji. So when we play that Tracer Genji, Ball on a Brig, and just play for that hard dives, hard commits. I want to see Nano Blades. I want to see big ult combos, because in order to counteract the the consistencies of Salamanders, I think they need to make those big ult plays.
Yep. No, absolutely. And I think also what I'm really hoping to see from teams is just also utilizing the high ground a lot more. I think the way that Blur was able to do it, playing on the Winston and able to just wait for them to get to a point where you can just jump right off in the middle of the team was absolutely huge. And as we get ready to kick off, we're looking at those comps, and once again, Blur sitting on the Winston on the side of Pink Salamander. Cheetah Boy had a great game on Echo. We definitely saw him being really, really effective and able to apply a hell of a lot of damage, utilizing his ult in a great way there as well. Tracer, Mercy, and Ana rounds off the side of Pink Salamander, and on the other side we've got Diva, which I'm hoping to see work. I don't think it's been as effective as they would have wanted on the side of Pangolins. Cassidy and Reaper, Reaper obviously just doing a ton of damage and really allowing to create some space. Lucio to allow for this kind of sustainability, and also sitting on the side of Ana hoping to get some good boost.
Yeah, from the looks of it, it's like the Reaper is just sitting in the back line. So I think just trying to isolate and take advantage of that play. And I'm hoping to see it come through. I mean, Reaper is so good against it. we see the Blood dying early.
Unfortunately not. Yeah, that is unfortunate. I mean, again, these teams really just like to kick it off and just go straight into the bloodbath. But you know, Pink Salamanders are starting to make progress. Starting to play this slowly but surely. You know, I think Reaper, when they're trying to stop and prevent Pink Salamanders from pushing the payload, obviously a great hero to kind of create that space. But as it stands, things are looking very dire on the side of Pink Salamanders with a lot of characters, a lot of heroes almost on half health there. But finally getting healed up by Mercy. Boy manages to take down Anna, one of the backline on the side of Pangolins, and so far slowly but surely and very steadily pushing the payload forward.
Yeah, I mean, Pangolins and Salamanders are making trades, but Salamander's spawn is so much closer that it benefits them 100%. So they're willing to trade out maybe an Ana for the enemy Jasmine, because that means they get back way faster.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I actually just had to take on my jacket. This game has been so hectic. There is more than enough there. And as we speak about it, Pangolins managed to get a 3 kill there, at 4 kill there, managed to take down, and I think the last one is Tracer, who is being, again, one of the most frustrating characters, but eventually gets caught by Reaper. And there we go, the payload has a moment to breathe, as do we all, allowing Pink Salamanders a chance to regroup and come back again.
Yeah, really well played from Salamanders. I mean, picking off Fleur early, that seems to be the key for winning most of these fights. When you isolate the Winston player and your Reaper gets that much damage, and your Cassidy maybe gets a Deadeye kill, it does so much for the comp on the side of Triangles. That means they can take up so much more space, and they're executing that really well.
No, absolutely. I mean, again, I think we're seeing a team that's really playing together, playing cohesively, and really making Pink Salamanders work for every Reaper that pushes forward. But there we go, Reaper managed to take down Cheetah Boy and Echo. You know, that's the DPS play. Blur managed to trade a kill and get the backline on Anna. Being difficult, Death do Showdown as well, and that's the whole backline of Pangolins down. And there we go, now they have the Reaper down as well, and that's allowing the space for the payload to get pushed. But Pangolins still making it difficult, being difficult as ever trying to stall the payload. But unfortunately, in the end, it is a team white, and Pink Salamanders make it to the first point. That was bloody. That might have been the best I've seen Pangolins play against Pink Salamanders, and they're having to work for every.
Yeah, I mean, they played really well, but again, I hate to say it, but Blur doing really well, getting out that backline and just picking up 4 players in that line. I mean, well played from the Winston player. And you don't normally see big primals, right? Primals normally this to live, but Blur using that ultimate so well. They pick up the entire backline on the side of Pangolins, and Salamander's doing well to capitalize off their main tank hero play.
And you know, and I've said it before, but again, I really want to see what a Rhino. I mean, do you think the Rhino would be something effective on Pangolins? But before we do that, we have a Diva ult. Really? That's a bang. Way from down, Sound taking down 2. That's Cheetah Boy down as well as the Mercy getting taken down. My goodness, Big Tuna tries to answer back, getting 1 kill back. Things are looking really good there. Pangolin manages to take down another player on the side of Pink Salamanders, and the payload staying right where it is.
I mean, I don't know what it is about Poach, but every Diva bomb she throws out somehow gets 2 kills.
That was a Steph Curry.
Did you fucking do that? Really well played for Poach.
That was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, again, it was so high to just take it right off onto the other side. But nonetheless, we still continue. The payload is still making progress. Slowly but surely. Now we do have Pangolin sitting on the front, on the high ground, actually, just making things difficult. Winston obviously going out, having to go in, trying to disrupt him, trying to knock him, take him down. Reaper is just hitting from the top. Bang, 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 going in, and there we go. We've gotten Mercy taken down. That's the one player on the backline of the side of Pink Salamanders getting taken down, and followed by the second. That's Anna. That is both backlines kind of taken down there. There we go. We do have the Mercy coming back, trying to be difficult, but goodness, it looks like Pangolin's on a really good groove at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Pangolin's making use of their high ground, right? And wow, just playing so well. You know, align the Cassidy, the high ground, align the Diva, stall point as long as you can, and Poach with another Diva bomb. Get my best back.
I mean, at this point, you know, you want to see. I mean, do you think, you know, you want Pink Salamanders to switch up their heroes to actually kind of change the concept a little bit? You know, it's been very, very difficult for them, and I think you're in this dangerous situation right now where you have Pangolins very much in their groove, in their rhythm, and not allowing Pink Salamanders to do anything.
Yeah, I mean, Blur's really good on the Winston, but it seems like he's getting isolated a lot, so maybe after this primal raid, if it doesn't work out, maybe switch up to the Jungle Queen comp, which I know Salamanders are really good at. We saw that on the third point of Blizzard World, and it could work here on the speed phase of the Rado.
Absolutely. I mean, and we've got 2 ults inside of 3 ults up. There we go. Reaper ult just gets used. I was just about to say the ult is going to start getting popped off. Unfortunately, that did not get anything for them. A little bit of damage. And then there's the answering back ult on the other side of Reef, on the side of Pangolins. They manage to take down Anna. Echo also gets taken down. Cheetah Boy also getting taken down. Mercy gets punched to death by Rafiki with the big and heavy shotguns. And once again, very much the same as before. We are seeing Pangolins looking very comfortable. We now do see a bit of a change on the comp side of Pink Salamander. Big Tuna opting to go for the Ash. Maybe they're feeling they're just not able to really control the fights up close, especially when you've got Reaper and then you've got a Lucha that's got a lot of sustainability, and Diva just going to soak up all that damage.
I mean, really well played from Pangolins there, with that counter dive and the Nano Reaper in the back. Playing to their advantages so well. They know that the enemy main the primal rage. Making sure to isolate them, and again, Blur's gets taken out.
Exactly, yep, that's Blur gone, unfortunately. Again, Blur actually did switch to Diva, I think, trying to do something different. As you mentioned, he did suggest that maybe they need to take out the Winston, come to do something different because he's being isolated. But look at this, I mean, Pangolins is just hunting them down, like really just making it absolutely impossible for them to play their game. Cheetah Boy is trying to do his best to get back to the payload, but unfortunately, that was a really dominant, that might have been the most dominant performance so far by Pangolin there.
I mean, well played from Pangolin, just playing their comp so well. That was so. I mean, I'm actually excited. Playing their comp perfectly, utilizing the high ground. Diva with the 3-second booster, moving up and down. Stalling car when she needs to, but peeling for support when she has to, and the Reaper in the backline just blistering away on the Ana. I mean, Vertigo minute of rest on Street Face. I mean, so well played from Pangolins. I would have liked to see Salamanders switch up the comp a little faster, like you said. Maybe see the Winston isn't getting as much value as it is, and switch up to that Diva, because Diva is so strong when there's a high ground that they can use from, protect the supports and attack the enemy team from. No, really well played.
Absolutely. But nonetheless, here we are. We now have Pangolins are going to need to actually answer back, actually show what they can do and see if they can hit a further point there. And I mean, again, they've done a lot of the hard work already for themselves. Now it's about just making sure they don't have the same thing happen to them. On the side of Pink Salamanders, there have been some comp changes. Obviously, they're switching sides here as well. Blur is now going on their ham. So we've got Cheetah Boy and Hanzo. And again, Cheetah Boy is an incredibly talented player. So really excited to see how much damage he can be doing there sitting on the Hanzo. And then we've got Zenyatta and Anna to round it off on the sides of a Pink Salamander. And Pangolins actually going for the same comp as they switch sides. Obviously, it worked really well for them. Let's see what they can do right now. They start to push the payload, and there is Blur being sneaky, waiting to jump down. Hunting them, passing, there he goes, can't help himself, bombs it down. And we start to get it off bat. So far, the payload is moving. Blur is just trying to be difficult, keep it as difficult as possible to move. Bangs it right down again. Diva actually using the robot already. And oh my goodness, there we go. We get a pick right now. Diva gets taken down by Big Tuna on the Ash. Again, making use of their DPS, making it very difficult. The fights are spread out though, all over the place. I think everybody's going sightseeing. Are we going to the beach? Are we pushing the payload?
I really like the comp on the side of Salamanders. I mean, that Ash Hanzo has so much damage. I mean, the ball is in your backline, constantly annoying you. So the enemy team supports, the enemy team's DPS. You don't really get the chance to do what your comp wants to do. And Salamanders just playing that so perfect. Using Blur's, using the damage from the Hanzo and the harassed Pangolins.
And I think the Wrecking Ball is absolutely a good place right now for Blur. It's allowing him to be really difficult. As you see him right now in the background, trying to be difficult and still making sure that the payload doesn't get pushed too much. Just being really disruptive. So far, this is a much calmer pace than what we were seeing in the previous round. But Pangolins are moving the payload slowly but surely. They don't have as much to go. We do have Pink Salamander on the high ground, just picking up shots over and over again, making it so difficult for the side of Pangolins to actually stay together. With 3 of them down, the ults, they're really going to be hoping to see those ults. So we've got the Cassidy ult sitting at 96% on the side of Pangolins. Maybe it'll allow them to create some space and push the payload.
I mean, this was an issue I had with Pangolins in the last game as well. It feels like their dive lacks cohesion and synergy. I mean, it feels like the ball goes in, then maybe the Genji goes. It doesn't feel like they're playing as a team. And, oh my god, Cheetah Boy again with the big pick on the half though.
And I mean, right now, this is definitely a very different pacing to what we've seen before. We do actually have the side of Pangolins. They're trying to also go into a wrecking ball and try to keep things moving and try to counteract disruption that Blur is doing for the side of Pink Salamanders. Nobody's on the payload. Nobody likes to truck. And so far, it's standing still despite kind of the chaotic fights. But on the side of Pink Salamander, of course, they're happy to just sit back and pop 6 shots at the back. But so far, nothing's really happened. The Mindful's now been laying down on the side of Blur to make it difficult. We do have Bob actually also coming in to make things really difficult. And it's looking really difficult for Pangolins to actually take the payload right now.
I mean, while this fight is going down in the Pangolins backline, Blur is in the Salamanders backline, sorry. Blur is in the Pangolins backline, just using the Ana player and making sure that they can't get healing. It's working so well for Salamanders. I mean, so many ults are committed from Pangolins, so many picks taken off. The payload has barely been pushed forward, and it's all because Blur's been on the payload, allowing his team to pop off while he stalls it out.
Oh. Yeah, no, the Wrecking Ball pick was an absolutely great one and a great adjustment after how this sort of wasn't get too much results on the side of Winston. And yeah, it's working perfectly. The payload just has not moved. And despite a really strong showing on the side of Pangolin, it seems that Pink Salamander is all the force as well, if not better. But yeah, things are looking difficult. We do finally have some kills that are now finally coming through. As we see the side of Pangolin try to be difficult, they do take down Cheetah Boy and Hanzo, giving them a bit of room to breathe. But then the Ash also takes it off and takes off the players on Pangolin. But they finally have the payload moving once again. It's been difficult, but here comes Blur being difficult, not allowing them to move that track. That track is not going anywhere. Blur is going to be the
yeah, again, I mean, Pangolins get some pick in the backline, but they're not losing their ball player. That means that the Salamander ball player can just free roam in their backline, and that's what we see Blur does. Just because they lost a few doesn't mean he can't get a few back. And he gets the Zen play, he gets the Mercy, he gets the Tracer, he gets everyone, and it stalls Pangolin's fight. And now they're forced him with ults to get going.
Right, because now we're sitting here on overtime. Pangolins cannot let go of the payload anymore. And Hanzo ult was used on the side of Cheetah Boy, managed to kill the Mercy. Overkill for the one support, but they've been so dominant on this side of the defense. They'll take the kill wherever they can get them. But the payload's still moving. It's not over yet to the side of Pangolins, and it's not that far to go. But they are being taken down one by one. There are not that many people left. And Tracer trying to do a last Hail Mary, trying to keep it going on the side of Pangolin. The team Genji is moved fast, but he moved off the payload. He moved off the payload. That's your Genji players right there, and that's why I support Battle Moira. Because, at least heal me whilst you leave the payload alone. But look, unfortunately, Blur and the team on the side of Pink Salamander doing what they needed to do there, despite what looked like a very difficult first round. And I mean, just watch Blur. An absolute menace he was playing on the side of Winston. But as a Wrecking Ball, I think it was even more effective. He was able to just delay them from pushing the payload, never giving them a chance to play as a team, which was exactly the way that they were playing when they were on their side there. And yeah, unfortunately, that does go to the side of Pink Salamanders.
Yeah, I think that final attack was just I want to see like a compositional mistake from Pangolins. They weren't able to play that ball comp very well, and that just allowed the Salamanders to capitalize on it. I mean, we saw Tox on the Zen taking off the blading Genji or Rafiki. I mean, when you see stuff like that happen, I think we need to play a more safer comp. Maybe play a comp with more comp, because this ball comp, the lack of synergy just did not look Pangolins, and I guess that reflects in the scoreline. Salamanders taking it 3-0.
Unfortunately, so that does seem to be the case here. But on the side of Pangolins, they really did have some really great moments. I mean, it looked really, really strong. The way they showed their defense. There was a point that you made that I think really bears repeating. It just feels like Pangolins, when it comes to their dive and it comes to being the aggressors, they're not able to execute it quite as seamlessly as you would have wanted them to do it, and unfortunately Pink Salamander's experience and firepower and definitely having Blur in the team really created a really strong dominant team that just did not allow Pangolins to always play their game.
Yeah, I mean, it's just well played from Salamanders. Like you said, Pangolins not able to execute their dives because it's that tank on Salamanders in their backline harassing them, and it shows when you have such a I mean, we saw that like the large difference when we saw the Blur come in, just how good the dives from the side of Salamanders became when their IGL came in and their main tank play. We see just how effective a good dive is, and unfortunately for Pangolins, that's just Salamander's cup of tea.
But they played well. Pangolins really, really gave a good showing and really made it close. I mean, I think it's definitely fair to say that the scoreline wasn't as reflective of, how close some of those games were. And also some of the great moments that Pangolins did have in some of those rounds. But yeah, what a showing. What a game. What a series.
It's such a fun game. It's such a chaotic game. I mean, the 3-0 the 3-0 scoreline doesn't really show. I mean, we saw one of the control points. We saw Pangolin stop the attack of Salamanders on Dorado early. So really well played from Pangolins. Just a little unlucky on the terms of the attack and on the terms of the scoreline, but I
Yeah.
think they proved that they should stand in first division.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was great. Yeah, my voice though is done. I mean, that was so much chaos. Definitely, I'm going to be speaking to production, putting me on this cracker of a series as play by play. But yeah, really, really fun. I mean, what an amazing series, and what a great way to kind of close out the evening.
I mean, yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. It's a really great game. First, just an insight into the future of the Kalsa tournaments and the Rhino Showdown. We have plenty more coming your way, and it's been great.
No, absolutely. So I think that's cool. Are you going to do the outros with all the handles? Where can people find you? Where can people find me even? And of course, Overwatch ZA.
You can find Kalsa, of course, at Twitch. Oh shit, yeah, twitch.tv/Kalsa, and then on Twitter at Kalsa. And yeah, that was just a really great series. You can find me on Twitter at Babs_MII. What about you, Dreamer?
You can find me Noir Dreamer on all platforms where I talk a bunch of crap about a bunch of different things. But otherwise, yeah, what a great series. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, see you guys.
Cheers.